Mortal Kombat 11 is the third installment of the rebooted Mortal Kombat series created by NetherRealm Studios. It follows the same storyline from Mortal Kombat 9 and X and carries off right where X ends. And for this review, I'm going to be talking about multiple aspects of the game. Of course, the story, the gameplay, the roster, and the overall longevity of the game, and whether or not it's as good as Mortal Kombat 9 or as alright as Mortal Kombat X. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So basically the story of Mortal Kombat 11 picks up right after Mortal Kombat X. Raiden has Shinnok's amulet and is using it to protect Earthrealm, and by doing so he's kind of become this evil doer of sorts. And the villain, of course, appears and is upset that Raiden has once again ruined everything and decides to create a rift in the past and present and combining them together so that way the original characters from Mortal Kombat 9's story meet their Mortal Kombat 11 counterparts, their future selves, and they all have to come together to try and stop Kronika, the villain of the story. So let's start with the pros. The pros are the story is very well executed. The cutscenes are very well directed. It kind of makes you, it's almost like you're watching a movie with how great these cutscenes are. The characters are a little bit older, but then some of them look a little younger. So I don't really know about that, but I guess in continuity in a fighting game isn't really that big of a deal. But the battle sequences in the story are awesome to watch. It kind of reminded me of an Avengers movie where all the characters are coming together and then they're fighting all these countless waves of soldiers and enemies and whatever else, and it was just really intense to watch, and it was overall a really, really cool story. Now let's go into the cons, because there are a bit of them. First off, the villain was boring. She was basically one note this whole time. She was sitting there and was just like, I need to fix the time. And that was it. That was literally her whole villain arc. She just wanted to come up with a timeline that doesn't have Raiden in it. It was kind of a pointless thing. Another issue I have with the story is that it's kind of a thing that's been kind of prominent, especially in Mortal Kombat X. It kind of showed up, and then it appeared a lot more in Mortal Kombat 11, where you would like beat a opponent in the story, a villain, whether it's Devora or Scarlet or something like that. Clear villains of the story that are much better off dead if you beat them in the first place. And in the cutscenes, they just decide not to just kill them. They just leave them on the ground, and they'll have some whippy one-liner like, "You thought," or something like that. And it completely is just confusing to me, because there were a couple of scenes, including one sequence that I really annoyed me, that I of course won't spoil, but basically they could have solved, or they could have stopped this one thing from happening had they killed this one character. And of course they didn't. For some weird reason, they automatically were like, all right, we just finished the fight, let's run over to the next area and start fighting other people. So it was kind of annoying the whole time, like when I'm sitting here and I'm playing and I really want them to just kill that person, just eliminate them, just get rid of them. You don't need them. They're not good. So just take care of them. I don't understand why it was just like, it was such a big, deal that they weren't killing them, because they were much better off dead than leaving them alive. It was automatically a complaint of mine. Another issue I have with the story is kind of the ending of the third half of the game. They took their time going through the main part of the story, but then towards the end, it was almost like they just started like, all right, let's just start throwing characters in other situations and have a really cool fight scene. And it was fun to watch. It was, visually appealing. But then when you're sitting there and you're like, wait, we're already like here, that's it. And even though Kronika wasn't really a great villain at all. It was the Revenant counterparts of Liu Kang, Jade, Katana, all the people who were Revenant from the end of Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X and now. They were actually the more interesting villains, and I liked seeing them a lot more because their dialogue between their characters were themselves, and Raiden and everyone else was a lot more interesting than Kronika just sitting there going, time. So it was a lot more interesting to me than just a one-note villain. So while she was in the background, the Revenant people were very much in the forefront, and I was pretty happy about that. The voice acting was actually pretty solid. Once again, the same voice actors for all the OG characters, but then some of the voice actors I think were switched or changed or whatever. Mostly for the better actually, except for one, and that is Ronda Rousey as Sonya Blade. Just take a look.
You left me behind?
You know what? No, it's fine. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the next line is better.
You might be alive in this future, but that can change.
Third time's the charm.
Let me give you a break.
Gameplay. Now the gameplay in this is actually a lot slower in my opinion than most Mortal Kombat games. The combos are a lot slower than they used to be. I remember there were a couple of really fast combos that Scorpion or Sub-Zero would have in MKX and MK9 that they completely slowed down for Mortal Kombat 11. The X-ray move isn't really an X-ray move, but kind of is. It's weird. Basically, what it is now, it's not a meter to fill up so you can use your X-ray. Basically, when you get to the last sliver of health, the last chunk of health that you have, a final blow prompt will flash on the screen or whatever. And when you're fighting, you can use that to kind of level the field a little bit, kind of make it a little bit more even of a fight again. Maybe, you know, they have a little bit more health than you, and you use the final blow, and then you both have the same health, and the fight gets a little bit more intense. I personally like this. I think it kind of goes for a little bit more strategic in regards to your how you're going to tackle a fight. But at the same time, it also can be kind of pointless because right when you use yours, they might be in the same position of a final blow, and then they'll use theirs immediately after that. So unless you manage to dodge or get out of the way fast enough, or maybe they're just not good, you should be able to get out of the fight fine. But if not, it's going to be just final blow, hitting each other, and then you probably end up losing because you had the lower health beforehand. The game runs incredibly smooth. The fluidity of each match and each move, the way each character punches and then transitions to another move or adds on top of that move, it's just, I never experienced a frame rate drop or any lag at all whatsoever. And it was really cool, and the combo moves that each character has are unique enough where, you know, it's fun to, you know, play Aaron Black where you can just, you know, use your your guns, and then all of a sudden jump to new Cybot where he's using his sickle and his shadow self, and it's just, there was a good variety between, you know, the moves and what they do, and there was enough spice to want to try more characters as opposed to just sticking with one and then never using another character again. The gameplay online was really, really smooth. I've played between playing Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat X. I've had matches where they've been really laggy and I'll have full health 1 second and they won't move and do anything. Then the next second they throw one punch and I'm already at like half health, and because of the lag. But I have not experienced any lag at all. Now, I'm not really experienced myself, but I felt like, you know, I made it through the story, and I felt like if I can handle, you know, story bosses, then, you know, I can definitely have some fun with online, and I might actually win a match.
Finish him. Fatality. Liu Kang wins.
Maybe not. God, I suck at fighting games. Overall, the gameplay is really great. The fluidity of the combos for each character is super satisfying, and I love just spamming one combo over and over again, just watching the animation of it because of how cool it is. And it definitely is what will keep you, you know, playing in general. Now, you can't have a fighting game without talking about the roster of fighters that you have in this Mortal Kombat, and overall, it's okay. They still have Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, all the, like, OG people, but they got rid of a couple that I was actually really disappointed in. My favorite character in Mortal Kombat X was Ken Shi, and he's nowhere to be seen, which is weird because he was a pretty big part of the story of Mortal Kombat X, so that was why I was a little confused as to why he was just suddenly absent from this one. Reptile also is nowhere to be seen, and that's a fan favorite, and he's actually one of my favorites as well. But I was still happy, of course, that they had Scorpion, and they brought back some characters as well. They brought back Noob Saibot, Scarlet, Jade, Aaron Black, and Kotal Khan, and a couple other fighters that it was nice to have them back again, and have, like, you know, an updated move set, and it's cool to have all those things. The customization also leaves something to desire. It's nice to have, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more like the Injustice 2 customization, and unfortunately it wasn't. Some characters, it's just for most of the armor, actually, it's just different colors of, like, one armor and just different colors, and that's really all you get. It's kind of cool at the same time that you can customize the weapons, the mask, the outfit, but it does at the same time kind of feel a little restricted. I wish they added shaders back again from Injustice 2. I liked having in Injustice 2 an all black Sub-Zero with, you know, this really cool black ice on his armor and stuff like that, and I thought it'd be cool if they were to add the shaders again, but unfortunately they didn't. But that's it was a bit of a gripe for me because I'm a stickler for customization. I love customization in games. One thing that I do have to mention that is way more prominent in this game than any of the Mortal Kombat games, the music. The menu theme is so good. I don't really care for the themes that NetherRealm comes up with either Injustice or Mortal Kombat. I thought they were just kind of basic and, you know, not really needed. But this one had some really, really cool music in the arenas, the main menu. When you do a fatality, it has this really, really cool sound at the end of it.
Brutality.
To the NetherRealm.
Scorpion wins.
So the music and the sound are just really, really cool, and are a lot better than past Mortal Kombat or Injustice games. And of course, I was very happy about that. So after you beat the story, you're going to have a bunch of coins and a bunch of different types of currencies then you're going to want to hit the crypt. The crypt is, of course, if you know anything about Mortal Kombat at all, the crypt is where you unlock different skins and armor pieces and concept art and a bunch of extra things that NetherRealm just basically throws into this really interesting map that has a bunch of chests and everything, and you use the coins and whatever currency you earn to open up the chests. This time around, they made everything RNG, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of cool the way they reinvented the crypt in a way. It's kind of looks like God of War, where you're just walking around, you have this hammer, you break through certain walls, there's like all these little puzzles and everything, and like hidden clues or whatever, and you gotta find this to open this that grants you access to these chests, and that was kind of cool, but then it kind of gets worn off after a while because you're sitting there and you're realizing, well, it's kind of annoying to have RNG in the crypt because there's so many chests, and usually since they used to be preset, you basically would like look up a guide and be like, all right, how do I, you know, efficiently use my coins that I got at the end of this through playing the story to get costumes for characters I actually care about, and more often than not I got concept art. But not only are these skins in the crypt now, they are also in the towers, and the towers have a little bit of a different change to them. They've been a little, it's a lot more like the towers in Injustice 2, to earn new gear and things like that, but there's just one slight little problem that just really gets on my nerves, and it's the consumables. Consumables are basically these things to give you an edge in the tower, and I think they're the most annoying thing ever. I don't think they're needed. I just think they're a little bit unnecessary and pointless. There's also some microtransactions which I still don't agree with. The whole easy fatalities and things like that I think are just really unnecessary, and honestly, what's the point of easy fatalities? There's a fatality, for example, that Scorpion has where it's just 4 buttons that are extremely easy. It's like down, 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 X. That's why do you need easy fatalities? Why are microtransactions even a thing in a fighting game? It's really annoying that they're in, but unfortunately it's just how it goes, and it wouldn't really be that big of a problem if it wasn't so grindy. NetherRealm, I did see NetherRealm comment on this, and they said that they were going to fix it. They meant for hours of grind, not days of grind to get an item, so hopefully they can fix this. But it's just something that I really can't ignore, or really anyone should be ignoring, because it's just kind of this really big annoying thing that's just, it's like the shadow in the back of the game. It's like, you know, you're really enjoying the story and you're just like, you know, I can't wait to play the end game, and then you go into the end game and suddenly it's like, whoa, why do I have to wait for this and that to get this? Why is it so much money to try and hope I get a good looking skin or a face mask for a character? It's just really obnoxious to really go through, which automatically kind of just severed the playability of the game for me. Right when I was done with the story, I found it a little bit difficult to pick back up to play. I was having fun, and I still go back to the game, of course, to fight every now and then, but that's really it. The trying to get certain items, I have to wait for the tower to pop up to get a mask I want, and they don't tell you when it's going to show up. You just basically have to check every day or whatever to find out whether or not you're actually going to have that tower and whether or not you can get that armor. It's the same thing from Injustice 2, and I wasn't a big fan of it then, and I'm not a big fan of it now. But if that's what they want to do for the NetherRealm games that they're coming out with, then so be it. I'm not a big fan of it. At the end of it all, Mortal Kombat 11 isn't a bad game at all. It's not a disappointing game at all. It's a good game. It really is. The story is so fun to play, and I definitely want to go back and play it again. I do want to come back every now and then and you know, play a match or two and use these really gruesome fatalities. You know, it's just great. But until NetherRealm fixes the ridiculous grind and somehow, I don't know, finds a way to reduce the need for microtransactions. I just personally don't see myself going back to it a lot, which is a little sad because I was really excited for this game. But like I said, it's not a terrible game. It's just a good game, and I didn't want to say Mortal Kombat 11 was good. I wanted to say it was a great game, but unfortunately there are just a few things that hold it back from making it a great game. I'm going to give Mortal Kombat 11 a 7.5 out of 10. The game is great in certain aspects. The fatalities are gruesome. The gameplay is smooth. The story is great with a couple of problems and terrible voice acting from one character. And the microtransactions are just everywhere. But if you were a fan of Mortal Kombat 9 and a fan of Mortal Kombat X, that you would definitely get enjoyment out of this one, because this one I think is personally better than Mortal Kombat X. Thank you very much for watching my review of Mortal Kombat 11. If you guys liked what you saw here, like and subscribe, and we have plenty of videos that you might have interest in. We have vlogs, and we have a couple other reviews as well. Later on in the summer, we're going to be doing skits, and we have a short film that we've been planning for quite some time that we are going to start filming soon and working out the kinks, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys are along on the ride. And more reviews will definitely be coming out. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you guys have a good day, and peace out.